Yeah, guys, hope you're doing well. Do excuse me, it's going to take me a minute or two. Just going to set up this here because I'm not going to be able to see the chat over there. So I hope you're all doing well. Hope everything's going well for you guys. I hope you're having a groovy time out there in this wonderful world of ours, and you're enjoying yourselves. More importantly than that, you're home and safe. Let me just check that's coming up okay. Fantastic. I can see the chat. Brilliant. I can join in with the chat if need be there. So why am I doing this? I'm doing this today purely and simply because some friends of mine in the West Country have been hit with a tornado today. Knocked out power from, knocked over caravans in mobile homes and that. Pretty rough conditions. And again, they're a fairly isolated part of the UK. Excuse me. And I'm always chucking out prepper advice, aren't I? I'm always doing prepper, survival tips, ideas, and all the rest of it. And a few people have come back to me and said, Mick, I've got a question. I'm not a prepper. I'm not a camper. I'm not a survivalist. What gear do I have? What gear do you recommend I get? What do you think I should have? Well, it's always the same with me. If you're not a camper, a hiker, somebody that goes outdoors a lot, into survival and stuff like that, getting gear together is quite difficult for you. Okay, you've got to search around, you've got to find what you need, find what works, and put it together. So let's get on to some real basic, simple things that you can do, that you can have in and around the house in the event of an emergency. Now, bear in mind that today we've got a severe weather alert here in the UK. Not so bad for us down here in the south, but I know for Ireland and for the north, for Scotland and that, it is pretty damn severe. Okay, so what do I suggest? Well, first things first, water. Okay, we're looking at a tornadic event, or cyclonic event, sorry, not tornadic event, cyclonic event. So it's very high winds. And because it's cyclonic, it means it rotates. So your initial winds are going to blow one direction and you're going to get the gusts and that. And then as it moves on, it's going to blow in the opposite direction. And that's the bit that's normally the most destructive. Things are weakened because they've been pushed one way. Then you'll get a period of calm. And then the back edge of the storm will hit and will blow in the opposite direction. And that is usually the death knell for things like trees, weakened structures, and so on. So again, that leads to power outages. That can be cables down, that can be flood waters coming up in areas, knocking out substations, all sorts of minor, or what you would consider minor problems becoming massive problems. There is also the situation where we have an overloading on the grid system. So, of course, in those sort of events, everybody's putting the heating on, everybody's putting the kettle on, everybody's doing hot water bottles, everybody's putting extra lights on. And as the grid starts to have issues, you can come into a grid down situation where they decide we're going to shut the power off in this area, this area, this area, shunt it to that area that desperately needs it because of the conditions, and then we have power outages. Now, we don't often get those in the UK. The system is fairly well managed, and there are a lot of backups there. So, again, it doesn't happen often. But I'm of a generation that can remember it happening. I remember things like the storm of 1989, I think it was, 87, where some places were out of power for quite a while. And one of the first things you're going to notice that your loss of power is a loss of water. Apart from the lights going out, it being dark, your water system is going to start to fail. Most water treatment centres have a backup, but it's only going to last so long. Okay, so have sterile water, have clean water. The other reason for that is these sort of events bring flooding. And in that flooding, it raises water levels. That can cause sewers to back up. That can cause factories to flood. It can cause a lot of pollution. So again, there is a period of time where you don't really want to be trusting what you've got coming through the tap. It may be fine to flush the loo with, but it's not something you want to drink. So I tend to work on a principle, quite simply, a minimum of 3 to 4 litres of water a day for each person in the household. and that means that I've got 2 litres for drinking, and I've got 2 litres for other tasks. Okay, might be giving myself a wash, but tend to drop to wet wipes in those situations. It's only going to be 24 hours or so. A quick wipe down and that be sorted. And again, you don't need to go mad. You don't need 5,000 litres of water. A couple of jerry cans like this, or a couple of the 20-litre jerry cans, topped up, stuck to one side, is all we've used. So I've really got 40 litres in 2 jerry cans, and I've got a further 10 litres in that, just in case. Now, so I mean, but Mickey, what if it doesn't happen? Well, so it doesn't happen. What does the water matter in there? Doesn't really bother me, does it? It's not really that important. If the water in there isn't drunk in the situation, then I can quite easily use it to water flowers, flush the loo, go out, wash the car, top the car up on my next camp. Okay, it's no loss that way, is it? No skin off my nose, just having a drink of water put to one side. But in the event that we do have an issue, water is essential. It's one of your absolute priorities. Okay, and if you haven't got containers like that, look around, see what you can fill in the house. Okay, bottles. Even if you want and you can afford it, bottled water. It'll do the job. Now, your next thing is electricity. So, yeah, you've got a power down situation. You're going to lose light. You're going to go to things like torches, lamps, and so on. You can go with any sort of torch or lamp that you want. There are many, many types. Or you can go for things like storm lanterns. Okay, you can go for something like that. With old Feuerhand paraffin lamp, great piece of equipment. Throws out a bit of heat, throws out a bit of light. In actual fact, it's quite a nice bit of light. But again, these are temperamental. You've got to know how to use them and know how to use them correctly. So with these lanterns, it's a wick, a paraffin system. You have these tubes here, which take heat back down, warms the paraffin. Okay, your flame should only be down at the bottom of there. Okay, if you've got flames coming out the top, you've got a severe problem. Think about. Let me just grab a lighter. Oh, I should have thought about that beforehand. Just grab a lighter. So again, in these situations, you're not going to go to your flint and steel, are you? Cigarette lighter. Have one around the house. So, little lantern like this has a wick, paraffin. Oh, says he. Slam it down, Mickey. Got a good spring on that one. And again, you tune the wick down so that you're producing enough light and enough heat for what you want. And it should not produce soot or smoke. Okay? If it's producing soot or smoke, my dad would have clouted me around the ear on. Purely and simply because I've got the wick too high. Okay? And so you can drop them down quite low, just give a low light out. Okay? Gives off a bit of heat. And you can turn it up a bit, create a bit more light things up. But if you whack it up too far, you start to get the soot and the smoke, which you see coming off the top. That soots and marks up all the bowl. Yeah, waste of energy. But a great little go-to. Great for atmospherics as well. Downsides, it's liquid paraffin in the tank down there. And although that will burn all night quite happily, okay, you don't want to get it knocked over. So again, if you're going to go to that sort of system, you've got to be careful. Now, I grew up with these things. We used them all over the place. And they are weather resistant. That's why they're quite often called hurricane lamps. Lift it up, blow it out, or you can turn the wick down. Turn the wick down till it goes out. I like to blow it out because I like to see what wick I've got there. So there's one of your alternatives that you could go to. Great piece of equipment. It's a nice historic thing. And I'll be honest with you, I love the smell of them. I do love the smell of a paraffin heater and a paraffin lamp. Great efficient bits of equipment. Hi guys, hi Lou Michelle, hi Sticks. Throw in the comments here, guys, wherever you want. This is just a bit of a chat about prepping, and this is rough prepping. We're not basics for beginners, okay? So again, we're getting cook sets. Some people saying to me, yeah, so you got light, Mick? Got light? Yeah, I've got light. Let's see what I've got light-wise. So, you know, nice torch there, runs on batteries, do the job. We've got a couple more there. I think that one was £1 on Temu. That's rechargeable. Cheap and cheerful, you know, absolutely no weight to it at all. Cheap and cheerful, runs on LEDs. I've got the one that I use up the camp usually, hangs up, 3 settings. You know, so again, those sort of lights are what you ideally want. But if you want to go down the artistic route or the old route, go down paraffin lantern, great, because the other bonus of them, they throw out a little bit of heat. Not massive, little bit. So, cooking. What do I suggest that the novice, or anybody really, I mean, let's face it, I don't call myself a professional in anything, experienced possibly, cook sets. So, my cooker, my way in a prep situation of cooking at home for me and Caroline, for being able to prepare food, okay, is that, which runs on these, which I've got a dozen or so packs stored away for emergencies. Okay, and all I've got in here is a little Yellowstone cooker. Now these things are absolutely brilliant. You can find these in almost any camping hardware shop. Go outdoors, Walmart. You find these everywhere. They're simple, generic gas cooker, single ring gas cooker, exactly the same as your stove at home. It's designed to be self-sustained, so you've got your gas there. Gas locates in there, has to go one way. Right? It actually sets up on a locating pin, so you can't initiate it accidentally. You can't use the gas accidentally. Do excuse the explosions. It's demonstrating over the camp. And there, gas ring's on. Already thrown out heat. I can turn it down, adjust it so I can simmer on it, I can fry on it, I can cook on it. It's absolutely perfect. If you've got camp stoves and all the rest of it, your bushcraft gear, and you want to go down the road, you want to take your wood burning stove outside, set it up, brilliant. But in all honesty, I think you'll all agree with me. Something as simple as this in the kitchen on a surface, metal tray underneath it to protect the surface, just in case you get a bit of heat underneath it. Absolutely fantastic. You can see I'm using it on a silicone mat. In fact, actually, it's 2 silicone mats under there today because I want to be a bit careful. Now, yeah, that's a brilliant little cooker. That will boil my kettle in no time at all. Make me a brew, stick a frying pan on, bacon, eggs, saucepan on, throw my beans in. If I want to cook my toast, that can come off. Spilt my pens. I can take that. That goes on top. Little toast rack. Simple as that. Okay. I can now cook toast on top of that. Right. Now put myself in a position that makes life a little bit more awkward of taking that off. So again, that's going to be pretty hot. We've all seen Mickey burn himself before. So out with the Leatherman. Okay. But as simple as that, little attachments and tools. I think that was about £2.50 off of Temu. Right. Oh yeah, Temu. But if you've seen it works, use it. Fine. Okay. That's where you want to go. It's simple and it's efficient. And like I say, you get a brew on. So whilst everybody in your neighbourhood's sitting there panicking, you've gone out to the kitchen, you put your light on, you've got this out from your cupboard under the sink or wherever, put it up on the side, set it up, got your kettle, set up, putting a brew on. Now sitting there thinking about what we're going to do, what can we do, how do we go from there? And your missus comes walking into you and she says, blimey, it's freezing in there. Okay, don't love, not a problem. Let's shut that down. Okay. So you shut that down. You carry it in. You put a tray down. You put something to protect whatever surface you're going to use it on from the heat. Okay, and then you apply this. Now these are absolutely brilliant. I was playing with this yesterday. This actually drops on and locks into place. Okay, can't go anywhere. It's a little heater. Okay, so you can at that point switch your gas back on, fire it up. Okay, turn your gas on, and it's going to be fairly adjustable. Now it takes about 2 to 3 minutes for it to actually get to temperature. But testing this yesterday warmed this room up to the point where I was quite uncomfortable in here, and it radiates the heat very well this way. Okay, but if I take my kettle and sit my kettle on top, I can still boil my kettle, and because the kettle's stopping the chimney effect of this, it warms quicker and throws even more heat out to the sides to the point where it can become uncomfortable with too close. So I'm feeling that on my chest and my body now. Hi, Lucive. Hi, Owen. How you doing? So here we have for the home prepper, for the home, or not necessarily a prepper, just anybody at home that lives somewhere that's a bit concerned, wants to have a few items in their house to give them a little bit of help in a powered down, grid down situation. And again, people sit there and say, oh, what's the reality of it happening? It's not liable to happen. Okay. It doesn't happen that often, but when it does happen, you're screwed. Okay, house becomes cold, uncomfortable, and you're looking out the window at that neighbour who's looking at you drinking his cup of tea. How infuriating would that be? The other bonus of this, if you're going camping, or you decide to sit out in the garden like we do sometimes in the gazebo in the evening, and you might not have a chimney or a wood stove to put out there, but that sat on a table between you all can be quite warming, quite comfortable, quite pleasant. If you really want to go 1970s, put your fondue on the top of it, get your sticks and your bits of toasted bread and dip it in. It's great fun. And as you can see, it's very, very efficient. The nice thing is with this is having the adjustable gas. I can turn it down. I can control the heat levels on it. And that is something that you can't do so easily with things like meth stoves and that. Now, meth stoves have their place. I've got plenty of them. That's one of my favourite go-to systems as a survival piece of kit. But again, this is what I would, or what I actually choose to use at home. I also use it if I go car camping, if I go out on the boat, anything like that. Take this with me. It's easy enough to pack away, and it's a simple and efficient system. They're not expensive either. Okay, and when I say not expensive, I think this stove cost me 2 years ago about 19 quid. Okay, and I've had it 2 years, and I've cooked numerous things on it. There are cheap knockoff ones floating around out there. I can't say anything about those because I've not physically tried them, used them, so I've got no real reference point. But I haven't heard disasters about them. So again, that's one of the ways you could go with that. It's absolutely fancy. I'm actually going to put the kettle on because we're going to get into a bit of scoff in a minute, because I do have something I've got to use up. So let's take that off of there. Let's put that on the metal there. Let that cool. I'm actually quite relieved to get that off because again, I can't tell you how much heat that throws out. Let's put the kettle on. Right, so there's that. Where else can we go? Right, food. You've got your cook system. What are you thinking about with your food? Well, so it's hard for you, making a prepper survivalist. Yeah, you've got it all sussed you out. You're sitting there digging through your army rat packs. You've got your boil in the bags with their magic boilie pouches. What have you got? You've got cooked rice. You've got Thai curry. Oh, you've got all this stuff because you're a prepper. Yeah. Actually, I don't have as much of that as a lot of people do. I have a bit of it when I go out camping, yeah. And it can be expensive. That's why I haven't got a huge amount of it. I do like military rations, and again, we're doing a bit more of that on the channel. In actual fact, I think Caroline, the video that's up to date, USMRE, Caroline has just ordered the next MREs. She won't tell me what it is. She keeps chuckling about it, which has got me a bit nervous. But there we go. It's all an adventure. It's something to try. So what do I recommend for the person at home? Well, you can, quite simply, tins of soup. On a system like this, with a saucepan, tins of soup. Okay? It's as easy as that, isn't it? Or, if you don't want to dirty the saucepan, crack open the top of the tin, tip a little 1/4 of an inch out, put it over the flame, heat it that way. Dead easy. Or, if you want a long-term storage, you can go with freeze-dried. Freeze-dried meals. Oh, but Mick, they're so bloody expensive. They are. They are. I'm going to try that one. Chicken korma. I've had that for 1.5 years. I've not even tried it yet. But why not go buldak? Okay. Why not go with buldak noodles? Quite simple. Okay. Now, we all know they got a bit of a burn to them. Okay. But you don't have to have the burn, do you? Don't have to put the hot sauce with it. So there isn't just buldak. There's super noodles, wonder noodles, dog noodles. There are many types of noodles out there that you could try. Do not eat. Good. Let's take that out of there. So there are many different things you could try. Right. So let's see. Add water to line B. Okie doke. Add water to line B. Whenever you're filling these things as well, don't fill them too quickly. Allow the water to soak through to the bottom. Otherwise, what tends to happen is you end up with a really stodgy meal. Okay, that's got a nice reseal on that, so that doesn't work. I'm not impressed with that. So you're supposed to be able to seal that there. Doesn't work. Okay, Summit. Not impressed with that. Mickey's not impressed with that, so I should roll that over. Give it a bit of a shake, get the stodge going. I've not tried one of these yet, so let's give it a go, see what we think. Right, we're going to set that up there for 10 minutes. We'll let that sit up there. So, yeah, we've got buldak noodles, okay? Take the spicy pack out or use whatever noodles you can. Or pot noodles, okay? Anything like that. They're stored for donkey's years. You know, it's dehydrated, freeze-dried. As long as you take care of it, you don't puncture it, it lasts for donkey's years. Yes, I know they've got best before date, but if it's a real emergency, it ain't going to do you any harm. They're going to be adding boiling water to it. So again, food's quite simple. It's not something you have to really panic at. People get so caught up in the survivalist side of things. In you know, what am I going to do and feed my family for the next 40 years? You're not thinking like that. Most prepper scenarios, you're thinking, what am I going to do for the next 24 hours, 48 hours, possibly, maybe a week. Okay, things will change in that time quite rapidly. You'll either know whether you're staying where you are, whether you're being evacuated, or what you're doing. So you're going to adapt, and that's cool underneath. No heat on there. Brilliant, brilliant. So we can use that. So again, buldak noodles. I've got one pack left. If nobody claims that pack within the next 2 weeks, I'll eat it. I should have said that, should I? Never mind. Never mind. I'll do it. So, just to add a bit more interest while that's going on. Yeah, elusive, exactly. Freeze dried is good for bigger packets, bigger trips, and so on. Yeah. I tell you what, Lee, I will do, but I'm going to wait a minute or two because I should really give it a stir, shouldn't I? Let me think about it. Spoon, spoon, spoon. I've been having a bit of a mad sort out today, so things are a little bit all over the place at the moment. I'm trying to do some admin. Right, let's give it a stir. Ooh. Right. I'll tell you what, straight away, that needs a drop more water. Let's give that a drop more water. If Heinz made curried baby food, that's what I'll say to you at the moment. Yeah, definitely a drop more water. That's taking a fair bit of water. That's better. Right, that's it over there. That'll get better. Right, so I got sent a couple of things. Mickey? Yes, a couple of things. So, Maximus got hold of me. Maximus, thank you so very much. Let me dig that out of there. So, Maximus saw my video last week and he saw this stove system up the woods, sort of using it, and he liked it. And he's got one himself, he's a fan of it. But he was able to help me out because the one thing, I think I've mentioned it in the past, I think I might have even mentioned it on the video, is when I first got this, it did have the original proper stove set for it. Now, that stove set died to death after many years of use, okay? And I went over to using pretty much a standard Trangier style Meths burner. And Maximus said, I've got the proper military one for that, the one that belongs with it, if you're interested. And I thought, brilliant. So I said, yeah, go on, mate. So he sent it to me. Now, these can be used like that, brilliantly. And what happens is that fits just inside that hole. So again, people look at it and go, it's not going to fit. It gives a slightly wider ring. It gives a bigger fuel reserve. And there's a slight difference in the height. So you actually get a better burn on that one than that one. Now, one thing to be aware of with these, the civilian one does not ignites a lot faster, smaller area and so forth, than the military one. The military one takes probably another minute and a half to really get to bloom. But again, great bit of kit, fits in there perfectly. I'm not going to light that up in here today because there's a couple of other things for me to show you as well. So thank you very much, Maximus. That is going to get a video in its own right. Look, it fits in perfectly. All I need now is the plastic bottle that goes with it. Yeah. So, great bit of kit. Coming back to what it should be. So, fantastic. Love those things. There will be some videos on them coming up. But he also sent a couple of other things which fascinated me, which were improvised stoves. He sent me some improvised stoves. And I was like, gobsmacked. Like that. So, let's get into his improvised stove. So, he sent me this one, which he's made himself, which is a wire mesh in there inside a little tub that seals quite nicely. I'd like to know what the tub was, mate, where you got it from, because that does seal up nice. And again, as a little improvised spirit stove, he says, it's funny how when you try and do things on camera, it works very, very well. And again, the spill risk is down to a minimum with it. With the mesh in there and the stuff he's got under the mesh, it's reduced that spill risk. That's a nice little stove. It's not going to be the quickest stove in the world, I'm first to admit. However, it does make a nice spirit burner. Now, it's very similar to what I did myself, where I've taken a screw top tin, put some carbon felt inside that, and I made my own little spirit burner. Same sort of system. There we go. Similar sort of flame. Okay, works nice. Means that you can basically knock these up yourself, make them yourself at home, run with them. His, like mine, great. Got a nice tight sealing lid. You can put that back on, shut it down, screw top lid, same thing again. There we go. I like that. Maximus, thank you very, very much. Now, let's get on to the next thing, Maximus, because these fascinate about me, and I've got to get hold of Maximus and find out exactly what they are. So he sent me this tub. And he literally, being the sort of guy he is, he went, can you figure out what's in the tub? Can you figure out how it works? Well, I have seen stuff like this before. So the idea of this tub is you put a little bit of spirit in there, spirit of choice, be it methylated spirit, denatured alcohol, whichever spirit you tend to use. There's 3 blocks in there. Now that seal's quite nice, can be carried easily. Now, let's just, I'll use the lid off of, I won't use the lid off that. I've got a little tray there. It's even better still. I've got a little tray there. You'll see that. So, now these look like pumice stone to me. Okay, comes out like that. It's a nice little stone. I can sit that in there. There's 2 more in there. Quite happy soaking up spirit. That lights like that, and that burns really, really nicely. That makes a really nice little fuel source. Now, I've not done a timed burn on these yet. I don't know how long that will last for, because literally it's only the second time I fired one up, but I was that blown away with it as a system. Now, obviously, if I put that into a tub that contains the sides and that, reduce the flame, and it will obviously reduce, or it will lengthen the burn time. At the moment, the whole thing is ignited. Kind of makes me think catapult. Yeah, I could go very medieval on somebody, couldn't I? No, but again, what a brilliant system. Now, obviously, the situation I've got now is to put that out, I've got to encapsulate it completely, cut the oxygen off, and yeah, it's the only way I'm putting it out. So what I'm going to look for a small metal tub, something like that would sit in, and that will become my burner. But what a brilliant thing, Maximus! Thank you very, very much. I am going to have great fun trialing these, playing with them, getting out, exploring them, and see how they work. Right, let's have a look at some of these comments. Living on Bald Shoals, Beaver Creek. Hello, mate. How you doing? FU2 group. Whee! All right, guys. Elusive Sticks. How you doing, guys? Yeah, this is just a little chat. I'm having a bit of difficulty this week. In all honesty to everybody, I wanted to get out and do a video. Weather conditions here in the UK aren't very conducive. I had a fall down the stairs last night. My own fault. Wasn't wearing my slippers, in my socks. Walked to the top step. Didn't even have the light on. Misjudged my foot. Foot went off. I managed to slide down about 4 steps on my bum. Reached out with my left arm. Caught the banister. Managed to stop myself. Stood up. Went, hey! Now, I've not torn anything open. We know that. But I really gave myself quite a nasty, jarring of the wound, shall we say. Now, let me be a gentleman, take that out. So that's put me back a little bit. So I promised Kaz I'd have an easy day today. Didn't know what to do video wise. I'll be honest with you, I sat and had a chat with Sticks and Kitten Killer earlier on. I was like, I don't know what to do today. I really don't know what to do. So this is just sort of become an evolution, because what's happened in Cornwall, what's going to happen through the rest of the country. I thought I'd talk a bit about prepping, show you some of the gear I've got, and then see where your conversation takes me to. Yeah, I'll see if we can get Sticks to do a link. Right, so Summit to eat, freeze-dried chicken korma with rice, 179 grams. Well, I'll be honest with you. Right, going for a third one. No. Right. It's not bad. Meaning, if you were somewhere with nothing, I mean nothing, or you're in Arctic conditions, and you're just hunting the calories, it's going to give you the calories. Is that a freeze-dried chicken korma with rice? As in, I'll give that to a mate and go, you'd enjoy that. No, that's going out to the fox. I'll be honest with you, I'd rather cook up those buldak noodles and eat the sauce over again. And again, as I said earlier on, 2 weeks, nobody claims that last packet. In 2 weeks, I'll eat it, because I won't waste food. That's going out for that. Summit to eat, I'm sorry, it's bland. Really, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not a big spice eater, but that's bland. That was like, I think I know what pine sawdust and milk would taste like now. Yeah, that hot rock, that's absolutely worked a treat. Like I say, if you contain the sides, it would burn even longer. So I don't know what is it pumice? I think it's got to be something like pumice stone. But absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I'm gonna, now it's dying down a bit. Let's see. Can we blow this out? Is it safe enough to? Yeah. There we go. Blow that out. So yeah, I mean that's okay. That is a little bit out of date. Best before on that is 11th, the 20th, 2020. No, 11th, the 11th, 2024. That's only out by 2 months. Shouldn't be that bad, surely. Shouldn't have gone that bland in 2 months. And it may be that I've just got the worst one in their menu, but that, nah, I didn't enjoy that at all. Yeah, yeah, be careful those peanuts, Owen. Yeah. I know, Sue. Yeah, put some petrol on it. Yeah. That's the other problem, isn't it, Lee Michelle? You're exactly right there. So that requires 250 mils of water or 290 mils of water, hot or cold, into the pack. God, I wouldn't want that cold. Stir thoroughly and reseal. Well, I definitely added more, and it's still got the consistency of porridge, packed with sawdust. I'm going to give it another 5 minutes. I'll give it another 5 minutes to try it. Maybe I ate it a bit too quick. Maybe the flavours haven't developed. Maybe it's my fault. Got to be fair to these people. How quickly does that stone cool down? Quite quickly, actually. Yeah, it's not quite touch cold yet, but it's getting there. Yes, so let's have a look. Log hoppers. Hey, log hoppers. You're not old enough to know a good diet. Rubbish. I see the diet that you were chatting about on your video, and you're spot on. Yeah. Sausages. Can't go wrong with sausages. Proteins, getting it into your natural ingredients, natural fruit, natural veg, forage. Yeah. Mushrooms. My doctor friend was actually telling me that he recommends mushrooms to people if you're like me recovering. So there's a lot of minerals, vitamins, and that help within mushrooms, and they apparently are the secret to the future. He was saying to me, he said they are going to be the food source of the future, the mycelium. And we're already seeing that in a lot of vegetarian food. So let's come back to this. No, punish yourself, Mick. It's chicken texture's not improved. Bill Beep, hello mate, welcome. So, I'd say no, chicken's not supposed to taste like sawdust. No, definitely, that's it. Done. That goes to the fox. Is foul. Like I say, I'd rather redo the bulldog challenge, the bulldog challenge, the artificial chicken in those Korean noodles. It's probably more chicken than the chicken that's in that chicken korma. That's horrible. Really, freeze dried. In actual fact, that pot noodle's going to taste better than that does, and that's saying something. That's well, actually, they're not as bad as they used to be, but yeah. So if you're prepping pot noodles, you don't have to go. I see people now. I've got myself a 2-year supply of freeze dried food. Well, I tell you what, if come the SHTF situation, you're down in your bunker and you're sitting there in your smug arrogance with all your generators going, your 50-inch plasma screen at the side of your bunker, your lifetime subscription to DVD of DVDs, because obviously you're not going to get the internet. And you sit there and you go, right, Deirdre, I'm down into the cellar and I'm going to get tonight's food. What do you fancy? She's like, I fancy a curry. And you're down there, you go to the freeze-dried section and you take out one of those and you look at it and go, I tell you what, it's going to make the apocalypse a lot difficult to live with, because 20 years on that, I don't know what it's going to do to you, but it ain't going to be good. And again, it is probably designed purely for the energy. But sorry, that's just not good. I don't know if anybody else has tried them. Virginia Bushcrafter, hello mate. I'm not doing too bad, mate. Not doing too bad. I'm getting there slowly. Yeah, exactly that, FU crew. It's It's purely sustenance. That is it. There's no flavour there. Energy and constipation. So I just spend the next 20 years in your survival bunker, isn't it? So again, what are you going to do? There you go. That pumice stone, as if it is a pumice stone, it's cooled down. It's not lost its shape, strength. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop that back in the tub, seal the tub, give it a shake, stand it upside down in the tray, and let it reabsorb. And therefore, it'll be ready to go next time round. So there we go. What we've done, what we covered. We covered lighting, we've covered water, we've covered food. I've eaten something, excuse my language, disgusting. Oh, communications, comms. Okay, dokes, Mickey Render, get a wind-up radio. Okay, get yourself a wind-up radio or a battery-powered radio if you've got plenty of batteries. This, or even a solar-powered battery radio, but get yourself a radio. This one, medium wave, long wave FM. Okay, simple, basic, little radio. You're going to gain more information on a radio than you are via the internet when it comes to local disasters, because the local stations will have the information and will be rebroing for rescue organisations and emergency organisations because they have the local information. It breaks down quite simply that the emergency plan in the UK means that companies like your local radio station will become your rebroadcast for your civil emergency services, okay, leaving their net purely for emergencies. Because you can imagine the whole place breaks down, your local fire brigade net, police net, ambulance net is suddenly going to get overwhelmed, okay. Now, when you then start throwing in rescue organisations, mountain rescue, and so on, they start coming into that net. It starts to become swamped. So what they do is they then break down information to your local radio stations, and they are going to be your communications to you. They're the ones that are going to be saying to you, if you're a civilian and you're living in this area, your local rescue centre is such and such. They will also give you the information like local river is about to burst its banks, run like hell, run to the hills, and things like that. So it will give you that information. So again, go to your local net, go to your local radio station. If it's a worldwide thing, you ain't going to worry about it. Somebody said to me the other day, oh, what if it's a world event? A meteor was to hit the earth and all the rest of it. Well, I'm sorry. That's one of those situations where really you're just going to take it as it comes and deal with it. It's not all the prepping and survival techniques and gear that you could have in the world. Yes, will give you a help if you're not under that meteorite. Okay, but none of us can actually say what would happen afterwards. None of us can actually say what truly would be like afterwards, because again, we weren't around for the last time it happened. We can only surmise, and again, that means it's not worth worrying about. Okay, deal with what you can deal with the most likely events, and deal with what's most likely to happen. Okay, I'm not here to sell you gas masks. I'm not here to sell you my knife, my water purification tablets, my cook stoves, or anything like that. I'm purely here to say to you, after many years of studying survival techniques around the world and for various organisations and teaching survival skills to deal with different situations, from unrest to natural disaster to disease outbreak and so on, don't be conned. Don't let people, I keep seeing them on YouTube, yeah, buy my respirator, buy my kit bag, buy my survival kit. No, don't do it. Build your own. It'll save you a lot of money. You'll make it for your own tastes, your own flavours. You don't need to spend the was the one I was looking at the other day, $5,000 on basically one of these Stanley plastic wheel along boxes, and the guy got out all the items, and I sat with a pen and paper totting them up. Well, 1/3 of the items in there came directly from Amazon anyhow, from different suppliers. 1/3 did come through specialist companies. It came through various water filter companies and manufacturers and so on like that. The knife was probably come from Temu and cost less than 50p. Same thing with the paracord that he was using. So again, a $5,000 kit. But when I looked at it and broke it down, I think I worked out that I could have probably done exactly the same thing for $250. So again, there's a lot of people trying to make money out of all these things. Play, build your own kit, experiment, watch stuff that other people do, take sensible advice, do it for yourself. Okay. And the most important thing as well, and probably the most important thing, as all you guys already know, so I'm teaching you to suck eggs, is practice. Practice with it. Practice. If you get a cook set, don't just get the cook set, stick it on the shelf, go, that's it, I'm ready for the apocalypse. Get your cook set, get it out, play with it, have fun with it, cook meals with it, have a go at cooking meals with it, set yourself challenges. You know, you can have fun with that together. You can sit there, right, tonight you're doing spaghetti bolognese, you're doing it on the cook set from scratch using the original items. Okay? There's fun to be done in these things. There's a pleasure about sharing food, but there's also fun about practicing the techniques and the methods. And again, when we look at people that actually live a lifestyle, log hoppers, many of the indigenous groups, okay, they get a great deal of pleasure out of the simplest things in life because all the crap of the modern world's gone away from them. Okay, people say, "What's your favourite thing, Mick?" I said, watch a sunrise. I love to watch a sunrise. I'm getting to be an old fart now. I watch a sunrise. It's brilliant. It makes me smile. It's a new day. It's wonderful. I've got a day ahead of me. I watch a sunset. That's another one gone. I'm running out of them. But again, sharing simple pleasures with one another. So again, practice, try it. And there is nothing hard in any of it. It is all skill sets are based on learning, finding a method, and finding the method that works for you. Sometimes the hard thing is in struggling through something, pushing through it, figuring it out. This year, bow drill. Okay, we had a bow drill challenge this year. I hate bow drill. I've always hated friction fire. I've always found it hard work. I've often said it's unnecessary, but we did it. We persevered with it, and that's 4 more people that, although they won't admit it themselves, are adequate at making a bow drill. Then we met somebody that was really perfected the skill, and he sat down with us, went through it. Our skill set jumped up, and our techniques improved. So again, it's just about learning. Hi Jess, how you doing? Oh, you good girl. I like brambles. People don't make enough use of brambles. People spend more time cursing brambles than realising how important they are to us. The common bramble. People look at it, the only good thing they see on a bramble is the blackberry. I see the leaves for tea. I see the shoots for cordage. I see the tips for nibbles when I'm on the go. This is a wonderful plant. It's like the nettle. People curse the nettle, see it as a weed and rest it. Nettle, it's a staple. It's a staple. It's as important as cabbages and carrots. It is for a forager. It's part of your staple diet. Yes, it stings. That's why we invented gloves. Simple as. And if you learn and practice techniques, there are ways of picking it. Not saying stopping the sting completely, but minimising the stings and the risk of stings. So again, it's all about having a go. I don't have much in the way of spruce around here, so I can't do much in the way of spruce root myself. But I might do a bit of bramble cordage later in the year. And again, the bramble. So bramble. So any of you that have got your little area that you do your bush camps or you do your camping in and that, bramble's your friend. Bramble's nature's own barbed wire. You know, you can encourage it to grow through certain areas of light. Yeah, you can take a one of those large bramble shoots, very carefully unravel it from the undergrowth, thread it through somewhere else, and then nip the end, which will encourage it to put sprouts upwards. Okay, so you can start building a bramble wall or bramble hedge. Brilliant stuff. Love it. Love it. And if you've got a really big bramble bush, right, for the old days, well, in my career, I've climbed into many a bramble bush, got in underneath it, knocked the interior out, built a hide in there, Absolutely fantastic. Bunny's nowhere to hide. Hi, Bushcraft Rebooted. How you doing, mate? Hope you're doing good. I'm doing absolutely fantastic here. So let's have a look back through the comments, catch up with you guys. Nothing beats practice, but nothing beats practice. Yeah. Theory without method is just theory. Oh, yeah, love that. Nice saying. Incentives, yeah. Got to have the incentive to get out. You definitely got to have that. Plastic or metal canteen. Right. Well, there you go. So I like a plastic canteen. Okay. I'm not cooking in my canteens, so my canteens are purely for water carriage. So I find them, yeah, more than adequate. Find them sturdy and survive what I throw at them. I prefer a Nalgene plastic water canteen, clear bottles. I like the clear bottles because I can see the sediment in it. I can see the condition of the bottle. It gives me a chance to make sure there's nothing nasty going on in there. Makes it a lot easier cleaning them out. And again, all water bottles, whether they be metal, plastic, whether they be military style or otherwise, when you get home, give them a good swill out, unscrew the top. What I've always done is I've got a little piece of cloth and I stand them upside down on the cloth for 24 hours. That lets all the moisture in it run out. And then when I store it with the top open, let it breathe. Don't trap any moisture in there, otherwise you're going to end up with a deli belly. Yeah, you're right there. Yeah, and metal canteens, they freeze for us here. So again, doesn't really help so much. They freeze quicker than the plastic ones do, but you can boil water in them. Yeah, although when it comes to boiling water in metal canteens, you also got to look at the size of the opening, because trying to force snow into something that's that big, it's a struggle. I've seen it done. So again, it's find what suits you. There is no real right or wrong. It's find what works for you in the environment you're in. Even down to just carrying a couple of 500ml bottles. At the end of the day, always have water with you. It is life's source. It is your energy. It is everything you need. Compass navigation for the Virginia bushcrafter. Yeah. Compass navigation is excellent. I tend to be right. So we were talking about this earlier on today. So my form of navigation, yes, I can use a compass. I can set a bearing, take a bearing. I can do a back bearing. I can work in mils and degrees. Okay, it's quite easy. It's quite simple. I use quite often protract. I can't really see it from there. Let's get that kit there. So that's a protractor for taking grids, setting bearings. Okay, use those for, well, really, truthfully, a lot of cases, artillery work, things like that. And that's one of my compasses. Simple compass, works. Majority of the time, though, I work on ready reckoning. So I learned early on in my career to read a map and read the terrain on the map, and keep on the move that way. Now, the only time I really desperately want a compass is in the jungle, where the environment is that dense. I don't have the ability to read terrain. If you're in deep forests and places like that, a compass is essential. You want to be able to take a bearing and stay on it, because again, that woodland environment takes away your ability to read the terrain. If you can read the terrain, if you're somewhere like the majority of Great Britain, you can be able to read the terrain. You'll be able to take a map, look at the map, orientate the map, find features on the map or features that you can see on the land, and then take that to the map and work out exactly where you are. with time and practice, you'll be able to work out the elevations as well. Now, your brain stops seeing the map in a 2D form, i.e. flat with the contour lines on it. What you find happens in the end is you can look at it and you can almost imagine the shape of the hills and the ground around you, okay, by looking at the map. You then take that to what you see. You can see things like re-entrance and entrance, rivers, woodlands. The shapes are all there. I don't know about other people's maps, but I know with the OS maps, they're pretty damn good, pretty accurate for that sort of thing. Telegraph poles, roads, bridges, types of bridges, it's all on there. So again, you learn to read the features on the map and then transmit the two so you can keep moving. And quite often when you're in places like Dartmoor and that, and you'll see the squaddies on the marches, you won't see the compass, but you'll see the map. You'll see the map come out and they'll look, yeah, that tour's there, that tour's there, that path's there, I'm going that way. And that's a faster form of navigation, but it takes confidence to build. You've got to practice it. You've also got to you've got to be able to judge yourself at all times. So you've got to second guess a lot of things. So you start getting into the world of aiming off all the time. So when we say about aiming off, if I take a bearing, even with a compass, marching on a compass, and I'm going 3 miles and I'm heading for a particular building on a road. Okay, now I can take the bearing for the building and I can follow that bearing. I can try and straight line it, but the terrain, the environment, my own walking pattern is going to alter that slightly. Now, if I come to that road and that building's not in front of me, what's my problem? The road goes 2 ways. Have I gone left or have I gone right? You might not know. You've now got an issue of going, what do I do? So you intentionally aim off. You intentionally aim off. For me, it's usually go to the left. In fact, for me, it is go to the left because that's the way I naturally curve. So I will walk to the left and I'll aim off to the left. Now, when I reach that road, I know for a fact all I've got to do is turn right. It may be 100 metres down the road. It may be half a mile down the road. But all I've got to do is turn right and I will come to that exact feature I'm looking for. And you can do this with rivers, railways, power lines, telegraph poles, phone lines, anything like that you're using as a feature, as a stop point. So always aim off. It will help you a lot more. When we're looking at finding paths, the same thing again. If you're looking at finding a path or road, aim off to the left. You know when you hit it, you're going to turn right and it's going to take you to wherever you want to be. And on the UK maps, things like footpaths and that are pretty well marked. Occasionally you can come unstuck on the moors and the hills because what you think is a path turns out to be a sheep track or a deer track or something like that. And quite often logging will come in. Whole woods can disappear. So again, if you're looking at a map, don't just take one feature. Look at multiple features. Look at what we call permanent features, i.e. mountains or the shapes of the hills, shapes of the valleys, and then start looking at secondary features, which are your buildings, and then you look at your ground features, your trees, streams, and so on, and see how they are. Because again, river, stream, it can change direction. One storm, it can be veered off by many, many hundreds of meters, and in some extreme cases, even miles. So, or may not even be there at all. So aim off. That's a bit of a wander into navigation there. Do like a bit of navigation. Yeah, decent GPSs. Let's see. There are many types of GPS out there. Where's mine? I've got it here somewhere. I was actually got it down the other day. Somebody was talking about GPSs and wanted to look at the GPS. Where did I put it? In fact, I don't know where I've put it. Oh, I've got so much to sort out at the moment, guys. There's so much to organise here. It is ridiculous. There may even be a few items coming up as freebies to people on the next camp because I'm getting a little bit disorganised and I need to get on top of it. No, load if I know. Well, my GPS, I've got a Garmin 12 that I absolutely adore and love, which is really old, really, really old. Simple, basic, gives me good references. Doesn't show terrain, doesn't show mappage. I don't like GPSs that show mapping. I don't need it. All I need is the grid reference. Once I've got the grid reference, I can transfer that to a paper map. I don't like electronic maps. What I found over the years, and I'm lucky to be in a generation that saw it all come into the military, electronic mapping, GPSs and stuff you can download to phones, pads and all the rest of it. It's brilliant all the time. They work. When the power goes, you drop it, it gets submerged, you damage it. Index, done. It's gone. Go back to simple skills. I mean, let's have a look. Pretty much one out of random. Oh, that one's folded for use. Okay, so we take simple map. Oh yeah, Test Valley. Okay, simple map like that. It's not going to go out of date. Okay, all right, they do go out of date, but you're going to be able to read the ground features on this map in 10 years' time. Okay, towns will change, villages might change, roads might change, but the actual ground features won't. You'll still be able to read that. The towns and villages might be getting bigger, but they're still going to be called Stockbridge, Netherwallop, and so on. Okay, Danebury, Downhillfort, things like that. They will all be there. You'll still be able to follow them. I do apologise about my focus as well. So again, simple map like that, and then by using a compass, you can take a grid reference. And if you've got a GPS that just does a grid reference, a nice, simple, powerful GPS like the GPS 12, which will give me my location on a grid reference, I'll transfer it to the map. Done, dusted, put it away. But I can also then double check that grid reference using my compass if I want, or just by sitting and reading the grids off on the paper. Now, these are becoming lost arts because I see there was a group of walkers recently who I had to ask them if they were lost because they went past for about the 15th time on a piece of private land. I said, can I ask you where you guys are looking for? You look lost. I said, we're shooting up here and, don't want you wandering around when we're shooting. Oh, yes, we're going to such and such. And I said, well, you're going completely the wrong direction. No, we've got GPS. We know we're going. No, you're going the wrong direction. Take somebody that's been here for a long time. You're going the wrong way. They're showing you GPS. And I looked at GPS and it's screen and frozen on the GPS. So, well, I don't know whether we couldn't get a signal or what, but it frozen. And they were just following this blind arrow. They couldn't, because they didn't have maps with them, they couldn't even lay it out on the ground and say, hang on, there we go. You've just got that 4-inch screen. I can open a map and go, something's gone wrong here. There should be a such and such out that way, or a such and such out that way. There should be a town over there. But no, they just, technology, it can let you down. Don't trust it. Always stick with the basics and then back up with technology. Excellent, excellent, Virginia. Yeah. Emergency beacons. Yeah. What 3 words? Brilliant rescue system in the UK. Works absolutely fantastic here. I don't know about everywhere else in the world, but I know our emergency services here have jumped onto what 3 words, use it all the time. Absolutely fantastic. Bill, exactly. As a retired seaman, you can navigate to another continent, mate. Yeah. Scoring trees, leaving ground marks. Yeah. Yeah, and again, Lee Michelle. Yeah, if you have reception. So again, the secret to that is really is in your pre-planning. So when I plan a trip, and this is why I've got so many maps, because quite often I'll have 2 maps and I will actually mark the route out that I intend to take. and I will leave a copy with Kaz. And if it's, say, a 3-day walk, me and Mac are doing Dartmoor, I will plot the route out that we're going to take on Dartmoor, and then I will say, ready reckoning, Kaz, hopefully here for day 1, there for day 2, there for day 3, should be finished by day 4, but that's the route we're taking. She has that as a hard copy. Now, she can photograph that and send that to Devon and Cornwall Police. She can photocopy that, email that to Search and Rescue. Okay, so again, it's a good, sturdy backup system. And even if you're going out somewhere where you really know it off by heart and you're not taking a map, if you're going to have your missus as a backup, maybe mark that route on the map. But you've got, once you've marked that route, you've got to stick to it. That's where people go wrong. You know, they sit there, we're going to do this, this, and this, and then they go off and do it, and then they wander off track or off trail, which sometimes is because they suddenly think, I don't want to go this way. It looks nice over there. Let's go and explore that. Fine, but if nobody knows you've done that, you can suddenly find yourself miles and miles away from the search area if something does go wrong or happen. So again, it's all planning. Maximus Smith, thank you very much, mate. Hopefully you managed to see your kit being demonstrated earlier on. Now, Maximus, these what are these? Are these pumice, or because they everybody like these? These are astounding piece of kit to have. They're absolutely brilliant. If you can let us know what they are, because I think there's a few of the guys really interested in getting themselves set up that way themselves. Because again, it's not brilliant. That works so well, and I like. There's no spill risk. Yeah, and yet you're able to use meths or spirits, a spirit of your choice. And with a bit of effort, yes, you could blow it out. Brilliant. I like that so much. I really like that so much. Maximus, that's brilliant. Pizza oven brick. Pizza oven brick. Right, there we go, everybody. That's what they are, pizza oven brick. So I take it you've drilled or cut those out using a circular cutter. Have fun, Owen. Take care. Stay safe, mate. Hopefully the weather's not too bad for you there. Search and rescue team required for mixed GPS. Yeah. I had that. You know, when you look at something, you put it down. At the moment, this place is completely disorganised. You can see I've got boxes of stuff out. I'm having a major sort out. Today, a black bag went in the bin full of junk. It was just rubbish. It wasn't stuff that I would give away, but there was all sorts of bits and pieces. I was like, that's got no further use. That's not got further use. Start having a bit of a thin out and a tidy up. So yeah, next camp there will probably be a cardboard box with half a dozen items in it, where I look at people and go, if anybody can make use of any of that, take it. Again, because I don't want to throw things away that other people might be able to use. Waterproof notepads, yeah, love them. Yeah, anything like that's always going to be an advantage. Notepads, pens, paper, and again, your pen. So people quite often say to me, what pen do you use? I actually prefer a pencil to a pen. Okay, pencil's got a lot more use for me. Pens can be a swine, especially when you're trying to write things upside down. If it's good enough for the Russian astronauts, it's good enough for me. So I go with a nice pencil. The other thing is it means I can mark on my maps. So I can mark points of interest on my map. I can mark routes. I can take notes and all the rest of it. And I use quite a soft lead pencil. And then when I get home, I can transfer that onto a notepad, anything I want to score the information off, and then go back to the rubber and just gently take it out. So I do prefer a pencil myself. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but yeah, it's yeah, I find pencils a little bit more efficient. Old technology. It's, everybody's good. Everybody's good. Let's have a look at that. Let's update that. Update my chat on that. No, for some reason my iPad isn't updating its chat. Oh well. Good reference to emergency beacon. Yeah, let's go back down through that. Sticks, Maximus Simons. Sticks higher, Leroy. No Beckham's and handy. Pizza oven brick, brilliant. Pizza oven brick. Never thought of that. That is absolutely superb. Maximus, you are a real gentleman. Thank you so much. And the stove is in my kit. I'm going to do a full video on that later in the month. Good for the guinea kettle. Done bigger ones. Ah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, because I've got so I've got that pad there. So I was playing with what we call it, felt, carbon felt. So I sat there and I see a lot of these little tiny stoves, and I was like, well, for a home situation, say if I needed to cook at home or I needed to make a heater, how would it work using a bigger one? So I went with that. So again, just using and that's just a lid off of a tin with a big bit of carbon felt in it. Throw the heater on it. The heater's working already, starting to glow up red. Nice. Now I can stick the kettle on top of that now, cook on that. So again, it's adaptation is, or yeah, was it necessity is the mother of all adaptation? But yeah, look at that, works brilliantly. And the nice thing with these heaters is it really channels the heat. It really gives a chimney effect through the centre and channels that heat to where you want it. Works superbly. And that's just a little bit of methylated spirit on a little bit of carbon felt in there. So, and to show you the difference that heater actually makes, let's very carefully lift it off. There you go. So that drops that to that. But if I place it on there, it focuses the flame and the heat. There we go. I shall put that very carefully over there to cool down. So again, meth stoves. You can go all sizes, shapes, lots of different sizes. That's with carbon felt, which I do like. Carbon felt was cheap to buy. You buy it on Amazon. I was quite surprised how cheap it was and how efficient it is. Even for making like a little stove like that, it works really, really well. But I will say, pizza oven bricks. Oh, you give me some ideas now. So I'm going to have to order some pizza oven bricks, aren't I? I've got some ideas there. Yes. This is one of the things I do love about this community is how we share ideas, methods. People come up with something. Everybody's so happy to share with everybody else. And it gives us constant methods for learning, swapping, and so on. Yes, we will be having a meetup. I'm hoping to do a meetup I'd like to do one in May, to be honest with you, but I got the way in May to work out with the lads. But I would like to do a meet up the woods, a meet and greet up there, a camp. It's going to be exactly the same format as I've done the last 3 camps, which will be come down, bring your camp system, your cook system. We've got a main fire pit area where we do the majority of cooking. But again, if you want to cook in your system or using your system, do so. The only thing to be aware of is the woods isn't actually mine. I'm allowed to use it. So we just try to be careful. There is wood resources there which we are encouraged to replenish as we use. We do get the use of a chainsaw if Jason's up there, and we basically have a good fun wild camp. Awesome wild camp. Some say it's not a wild camp. I tend to say it's in the woods with minimal comforts. For me, it's a wild camp. It's not a stealth camp. It's a wild camp. It's one where you can actually let your hair down. You can actually enjoy yourself. Not looking over your shoulder for the public and things like that. You're not worrying about somebody coming walking through going, what are you doing here? You can just come along, set your kit up, have fun. Now, in my camps, I have a simple rule. Simple rules are no politics, no religions. We don't really care about that. We just enjoy getting out there and having fun. If you want to film, by all means, film. However, let the other guys know you're filming. Make sure people are happy to be on film. Make sure people are happy to be recorded, because not everybody wants to be on a YouTube video. So again, it's just be that polite, be that friendly. If you're the sort of person that just wants to sit on his tent and enjoy the peace and quiet on his own for the weekend, do so. There's no pressure to get involved. Usually on the Friday and the Saturday night, we all end up sat around a campfire having a good old chinwag and laugh. I do say to people that, I've got no problem with people bringing up a beer or having a drink, but yeah, you're responsible for your own actions. If you're somebody that's going to get a little bit inebriated and maybe a little bit loud or maybe a little bit opinionated, then, you might just find yourself duct taped to a tree, left for the squirrels till the morning. But that's just the way we police these things. But it's just a good bit of fun. I don't charge either. It's not a business. I don't make money out of it. I don't charge for it. I'm aware a lot of people travel a long, long way on very low incomes to come and join us on the camp. But what I do ask is, if you can spare £1, there is always a pot there. Chuck it in the pot. Now, whatever goes in that pot goes to the guys that own the wood, the guys that let me use it. And on some occasions, I book it for a weekend, which means they cancel their work. That means they cancel training courses and that in the woods to allow me to have it for a camp. So I'll be giving them a little bit back, and they really appreciate it. That goes in their biscuit and their beer fund. And that gets them a biscuit and beer to have on us. Kaz is good. I love my Kaz. Chronograph pencils. Yeah, chronograph pencils are okay until you start using them as makeup. Brilliant. They are brilliant. They're brilliant lighting. You got one of those lighters? Yeah. Right. So I'll sit right. I'll just give you an insight. I was going to do a video next week because I like to have that. That's my survival kit. That's my bug out kit. That's my necklace of much needing. That's a little emergency light, little tiny penknife, fire strike, and an emergency whistle. I started putting things on my keyring. Started putting little gadgets and bits and pieces on my keyring that Kaz got me that I thought, put on a keyring. I've always got my car keys with me when I go out. Put it on my keyring, so it's worth having it. And it was okay when it was the Swiss Army knife. And I got a light Swiss Army knife, so it wasn't too much weight. And it wasn't too bad with the little fire striker, the little whistle, P38 tin opener, glass breaker. But then the lighter went on there, and then my monocular went on there. And you suddenly get to the point where you go, how much kit am I carrying? That's got to be £1.50. all stuffed into a pocket, and yeah, I'm guaranteed I'll sit on that pocket and it'll either break something or it'll break me. So again, got to work out how to do it. Oh, Virginia. You have to. It depends on how far down the rabbit hole they've gone. Infantry makeup, yeah. So yeah. A man who knows, yeah. You give some squaddies a whole set of China graph pencils to make maps with a mark the China graphs up and the overlays up on their maps, and yeah, they're gonna well, they're gonna look like a bunch of clowns by the end of the day, aren't they? It's yeah. So I've got to have a sit and a think about this. So what do I really need? Well, do I need the monocular? No. Do I like to take my monocular out with me? On occasion. Do I need it up the town? No. So the monocular really needs to go into a little pouch of gear that I can throw in the bag. So I've got a few bits with me where I can go, oh, I've got a monocular with me. I don't use a binocular purely simply because of size and that. So it's just a little cheap 30 by 25 variable magnification monocular. Does the job for me. I used it for years for stalking. If I want to scan an area and see what's out there, it's perfect, absolutely perfect. The window breaker rescue tool, yeah, I want to keep that on there. I don't need the firelighter on there, to be honest with you. The fire strike, although I like it, that doesn't need to be on there. Nor does the little whistles with that, because I've got that already around my neck. So that's already thinned that up a little bit. So that's perfect for what I need. So basically, I've got me Swiss Army knife, multiple tools. If you can't do it with Swiss Army knife, you're not going to do it. I've got me little lighter. I've got a fire lighting system there. Torch there, which is a little bit of an increase on the torch that I've got there. That will go on the keys. Those will go into a separate pouch. And again, this is one of the fun things about building your kit. Is as you progress and you start finding little items that you go, oh, I like that. I want to keep that with me because I think that's a good little bit of kit to carry with me. You start to move on. And again, it's for me, it's Leatherman. Carried Leatherman for donkey's years. Never carried anything else but a Leatherman. That was all I carried. It was a multi-tool, especially out on the bikes. Military-wise, yeah, it's done everything. That from setting barbed wire, trip flares, yeah, Shimuli repairs, adjusting weapons. It was, yeah, the be all and end all. But what I have found over the last few years, apart from the legality in the UK of having a locking blade, was it's one of those things that tend to carry it on the right hand side along with my mobile phone, which is quite a chunky mobile phone. It's quite a weighted one because I've gone for an industrial type phone with a really big battery with the gear I want it. But by the time I put those two items on my right hip, bear in mind I'm getting to be an old boy, I started to get a little bit of an ache. And I realised what it was, is I'm unbalancing my body. So now what I'm trying to do is spread the weight out. So I looked for an alternative and I went for the Swiss Army knife. Now, I went for this particular one, which is not the Hunter. What is this one? Can't remember, to be honest with you now. Can't remember what they called it. But it's a simple Swiss Army knives. You can buy a Swiss Army knife that weighs 10 tons. But two simple blades, scissors, screwdriver, tin opener, bottle opener, and most importantly, the best bits within the Swiss Army knife, the tweezer and the toothpick. Okay. It's got an awl on it, Phillips screwdriver on the back, and the Swiss Army hook, which is 101 uses. We're going to get into some cordage making with that at a later date. It's a very handy little tool. but it was lighter. It meant that I got everything I needed with me in my pocket. And again, you're going to get far less grief from the British police carrying that than you are carrying that, which is annoying. Don't get me wrong, I don't agree with it. I know a lot of people out there. There's going to be people saying comments, well, you got no freedom of rights there. No, but it's what they've decided, so it's what we have to run with. And we're a little bit freer and better off than some other people in some other places. Because I've just found out it's illegal to have a slingshot in Australia. Not allowed a slingshot. Okie doke, all right. If I'm in Guildford Town Centre, pinging ball bearings across the town centre, I'm probably going to get into trouble. But I wasn't aware they're illegal in the UK. Archery in the UK, it's legal for us to practice archery in the UK on private property or on a range or in a club and things like that, not in a public place. And it's also illegal for us to hunt with a boat. But I can go to the States, I can hunt with a boat. I can go to certain countries in Europe, I can hunt with a boat. Again, firearms aren't legal in every country, but they are legal in the UK. You can have firearms in the UK. As long as you've got a license, somewhere to shoot it, somewhere with permission, or you're a club member and you're going to a range day. So again, we do have freedoms here. It's not quite as oppressive as some people think. But you've got to control. Yeah, you've got to have a relevant control, in you. $1911.45. Yeah, nice. Nice Colt. Okie doke. I do like a 1911. Nice, simple, reliable, good pistol. Yeah, the Aussies. Yeah. And again, it's not everybody in Australia that's anti-gun. It's not everybody in the UK that's anti-gun. It's not everybody. It's this is one of the sad things is I hear from people talking, oh, you people have banned this, you banned that. No, we haven't. What bans it is the government. The governments ban it. The governments ban it because they think that they've taken the opinion of the majority of people into account. Okay, sometimes to the detriment of maybe a small group or maybe even the majority. But we vote these people into power. They get into power. They make decisions. We've just got to go with it. Now, I'm a law-abiding citizen. Okay, he says. So again, I did it all by the book. Had all the licenses. Had all the proper ways of securing equipment and that. And I still do. I'm still careful about what I carry, how I carry it now. And I stick within the law. Because one of the difficulties for us as a group of people in what we enjoy doing is there are people out there that see us as a little bit crazy. There's people out there that see us as building militias or whatever. Now, if that's your thing, that's your thing. As long as you're not threatening people or risking people or doing harm, there's no issue in it. I've had somebody recently come here, walked into the man cave, walked in and went, holy fuck, this is exactly what the police are on about. This is what we're trying to stop. I said, oh, what do you mean by that? Well, you got all these knives, you got all this gear. Well, none of it's illegal. It's all legal for me to have within my own home. It's all legal for me to go out and practice my skills with. I mean, it took me about 20 minutes to calm him down and explain to him what I do with it, why I have it, which he shouldn't have to do. But once I did, he changed his attitude. Oh, no, I understand that. It was just a bit of a shock when I first walked in. And it turned out the thing that shocked him the most was all the olive drab. It's all very military, isn't it? Very military. Why would you have that? Well, because I like military kit. So I'll wear it. It lasts a long time. If I'm out in the woods, it blends in nicely. It doesn't stand out like a sore thumb. Hate of mine is Ramblers. I don't see why people have to go walking in the countryside, standing out and ruining my view of those beautiful green rolling fields with bright yellow, bright blue parkers on. But I don't go running up to them telling them not to do it. It's their thing. I just accept that they're out there. You know, so again, it's a difficult thing to do, and it's down to us to try and not get upset and angry and knee-jerk react and shout and scream back, but just sit there and say to people quietly, well, yeah, I know it might look a little bit intimidating to you, but, you know, it's a first aid pouch up there in camo. It's got a red cross on it. It's because it's a military pouch. It's a damn good pouch for carrying my first aid kit. It works perfectly. It's waterproof. It's hard wearing. It's tough. So that's what it lives in. My green jacket. Yeah, but you're wearing a camouflage jacket. Yes, because I'm going up the woods and I want to see the wildlife. I want to blend in. I want to enjoy it. I don't need to stand out like a sore thumb. So yeah, we just need to, issue the kit. Why not use it? Exactly, that's what I'm used to. It's hard wearing. Army, a lot of people that wear army surplus, whether they were in or not, whether they served or not, a lot of people choose to wear army surplus purely and simply because it's cheap and it's hard wearing. You know, it's well designed kit. It's gear that you can put on if you work on a lot. No, I remember years ago we used to have an army surplus store in Guildford, and their main trade was builders. Builders coming in to buy the OG combats. Army boots for on the sites. All right, you couldn't wear them now; they've got to be steel toe cap. But they bought the boots because they were cheap, they were hard wearing, they were efficient, and protected their feet. They bought the OGs because they were hard wearing, they were efficient, they lasted for months and months and months in a dirty, hard environment, but they were cheap. So again, that's where a lot of that comes from. Farmers after the Second World War, standard farmer wear was a greatcoat. You know, I don't think as a nipper, I remember so many people wearing woolen, either RAF or Army issue greatcoats, the old long ones. Why? Because they were damn good at what they did and they could pick them up for next to nothing. Yeah, I do. I'm aware of that. I do need to work on my audio. Unfortunately, it's a tight budget. I do want to get a decent mic set up, but I've got to go bit by bit. So yeah, I appreciate the fact that you're sticking with me and bearing with me. Things will be changing this year, but it has to be one item at a time, I'm afraid. And again, I'm not a professional YouTuber or anything like that. I've got a channel. I'm trying to work on it and learn about it as I go. So yeah. Cheers, Simon. Yeah, Dana Boots, lost for donkey's years. Yeah. I know. I was chatting to somebody earlier on. I can remember in my early career, we used to try and snaff German kit. The old German woolly pulleys were nicer. German boots, they were better than what we got issued with. Cheers, Mucker. You know, so again, it was you didn't even with servicemen will chop and change kit around. Cave beast. Cheers, mate. Well, there's plenty of us. Prepping, I think, is a worldwide thing. There's a lot of like-minded people out there, and again, people prep for lots of different things, don't they? So, me, I tend to stick to what I know and what I was trained to do. So, it's something I've 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 done it all my life. Really, grew up on a farm, so it's what we do. Prepare for winter, make sure the cupboard's full, make sure you've got some resources, some equipment behind you, make sure that you're set up and you've got some stores. Simple as. Um, the interesting thing is, as we move forward in the future and technology comes in, how things like battery packs and that have made life easier. You know, the being able to store power, electricity, and that for the devices that we use, the phones and things like that, and for a little all power there. I think it's about 150 quid. But that's got all the various sockets that you need there. 350 watt hour. Charges up quite quick. We'll charge on a solar panel. Charge this pretty much from empty at home in 2 hours. It's light enough to carry as well, because I've seen some of them are absolutely huge. but this does what I need. This is our backup for home. If we get a power down situation, for charging things like phones, keeping the iPad going so that I can still watch YouTube if I want, as long as I can get a signal. And also, when I'm up the woods, it gives us a power back there. Now, we have one of the guys that was up there with us, Camp for Lost, over the 2 days. He couldn't come with us originally because he has to rely on a sleep apnea machine. And obviously, he could bring it down with him, nowhere to plug it in. That ran his sleep apnea machine for 2 nights with absolutely no problem at all. So, yeah, great little bit of kit. One of my best investments for home prepping, backup, getting out, having adventures. It just means I can throw it in the motor and take it with me. Yeah, wool blankets. Love a wool blanket. Absolutely brilliant kit. I've got down there, under there, that's actually a Russian one. And I'd suggest that if you see the Russian ones, grab them because they usually go quite cheap. Yeah, All Power 300. That's a brilliant kit. Russian blankets are actually felted blankets. So instead of being a woven blanket like you see in a lot of Europe, they're actually made as a felt using the same technique as the old Mongolians and that did. Super warm. Absolutely super warm. Brilliant blankets. Absolutely adore it. Very, very dense. So yeah, they were worth looking into. Yeah, it does. Cave base, you're spot on there. And again, isn't that one of the essentials in your preps? It's something I'm glad you said that because I wouldn't have thought about bringing that up. But again, in your preps, morale. Be able to set yourself in your prepping situation. Don't just concentrate on food, water, fire, warmth, and so on. Prep for morale. You know, even simple things like, especially if you've got young people, a couple of board games or a pack of cards, things like that. Or if you can get a power bank and you can have a small iPad, okay, that will lift people, especially in a high stress, high fear situation. And young people don't always, yeah, for them it can be very scary. But if you can sit them down in a room somewhere where you know they're safe, whilst you're running around like a blue backsided fly, doing all the admin and that, with something like that, playing a game that they're used to seeing, switches their brain off of the situation and calms them down. And it works also with adults. Being able to play music, being able to just switch your music on, play your favourite playlist. It really helps. It calms. It helps to set them around. Lee Michelle, yeah, same as Kaz there. She listens to thunderstorms. She listens to thunderstorms on her, oh, what's it called? An Alexa. Yeah, so she gets that just to play thunderstorms, a whole series of them. And she finds that very calming. I do, funnily enough. I sit and listen to it and sort of just drift off. He's still got his RG helmet. As long as there's no head still in it, mate. That cold. So Owen's back from walking the dogs, can't feel his fingers. Mate, how's the wind, Owen? Is it started out there yet, or is it just temperature drop? Yeah. Yeah, 8 memoirs, reading material. Yep. Books. Books. I love my book. I've got my little library there. I've got another library over there. Um, books I've read this whilst I've been ill. I've read a lot of books. So books I've read whilst I've been ill that I thoroughly enjoyed. Okie doke. First one I can recommend to you. Rambling Man, Billy Connolly. That was an absolutely astounding read. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Really did enjoy that. And in actual fact, I'm saving that for a trip I've got planned because I'll probably be taking that to read again because it was one of those books that just kept laughing all the way through it. Absolutely brilliant. Gentle Cold Breeze still out. Excellent. Where else did I read? What else did I read? Oh yeah, that was quite interesting. Picked this up at a charity book. Yeah. the concise encyclopedia of world history. Okay, so it literally went from, and I love reading it, the Chronological Dictionary of Dates by Rodney Castellion. Now, I love history. History is something that tells us what's coming in the future as well as what's in the past. And this starts 38,000 BC. Homo sapiens emerged from Africa and the Middle East as the new human species with less physical power but larger brain capacity than the Neanderthal man. Homo sapien advances rapidly across at the expense of its rivals. People colonized Australia, North America, probably for the first time. 37,000 BC. In Eurasia, a warm interlude or interstitial hen globe begins, and it runs through like that. And as you get into the modern history, it gives you all the scientific advances, the whole lot. So there we go, 19 at random. Let's find an easy one. At random. 1931. The comic strip figures Mickey Mouse and Felix the Cat, Walt Disney and Otto Mesmer take up their first appearances. Alfonso VII of Spain leaves the country after reigning for 45 years. Chinese rebels led by General Chen Kai-tak break the General Kai-shek and take control of Guangzhou. There we go. It sounds quite, it was a fascinating read. Just read through literally the history of mankind as recorded. It's and that then led me to picking up this one, The Autobiography of England, 2,000 years, written in exactly the same way, bits of history. Love it. And then of course I've got my survival books, training manuals. I'm still a third way through writing my own little book. So that's something that's an ongoing project. That's based on 16 years of teaching survival skills in and around military personnel and others. So you never know. One day might get to the point where I finish that and publish it. But it's constantly evolving. That's the problem. Right, so I'm in the town of Farnborough. I am 30 miles from the city of London. Okay, literally from the city centre. I can be in the city centre on a train in 25 minutes. But I can also be on the middle of Salisbury Plain, travelling in the opposite direction, which is a huge expansive training area, in 35-40 minutes. Okay, so I'm on that edge. I'm semi-rural, but I'm in the middle of quite a built-up town. So yes, that would affect how you prep. How you prep depends on your environment, the risks that you're going to take, what you have around you resource-wise. I see city prepping as harder than rural prepping because I was raised in a rural area. I'm a country boy through and through, absolutely through and through. So growing up in a rural environment, I'm good for my resources. I'm good at foraging, fire resources, and so on. It's all there. In a city, prepping is so much harder because you've got to take into account other people, and you're not here. It's a very densely populated area, so we have blackout curtains. Okay, just so that if we had to, we can give the appearance that the house is in the same situation as everybody else. One of the difficulties is being a prepper is if everybody around you knows that you've got supplies, you've got electricity, you've got clean water and so on, when it goes wrong, they're going to come to you and ask you for it. And they will only ask you the once. Okay. So you do need to be able to set yourself up in a situation where, one, you've protected what you've got. Two, you can manage what you've got. Now, I've counterminded that by being open and honest with my neighbours. A lot of my neighbours have taken up prepping because of what I've spoken about, talked to them about, showed them, fascinated them. And a lot of them is people switch onto it very quickly. People are quick to want to gain stuff, gain knowledge, and feel safer. And since the advent of COVID, a lot of people have suddenly sat there and gone, you know what? I don't want to go through that again. I don't want to find myself without 40,000 toilet rolls ever again. Okay, so they've started to switch onto it. It's become a growing movement worldwide. But again, there will always be those people that, I don't want to call it lazy, but that don't see the same mindset. And if an SHTF situation, no matter how minor or great was to occur, are going to become an issue. Okay, so again, the best way of protecting yourself from that is either remove yourself from that situation, or limit your risk. Now, I limit my risk by building a community around me, not just you guys, but I have friends around me here that are like-minded, and within ourselves we've built our own little fallout, what I call the fallout community. So if it does go wrong here, we all back one another up. So that's the best advice I can give there. Yeah, cave beast. That's the issue. Hopefully, those 6 people that came by, you're able to help in some way, even if it's just by giving advice. But you don't set yourself up so that you end up detrimental. Hopefully, they've learned by your lessons, and for future, they've gone away and thought about it and gone, do you know what? I need to sort myself out for future risks and problems. Again, in areas where you're prone to tornadoes and things like that, you find people are aware of it. They tend to stock up and store. They tend to be a bit sensible about it. They have their plans in place. It's places like the UK where we don't get too much in the way of events at the moment, but they seem to be becoming more and more predominant, especially wind events. We seem to be getting more and more strong winds. Me, Owen, and a couple of other guys, we've been looking back at the history, and just over the last 15 to 20 years, these events are getting more and more frequent, and more impact. So again, it's just, start ahead, build. And I keep saying to people, don't, if you've got a bunker, if you've got a cellar, if you've got a bunker, if you've got storm shelter, equip it, prep it, set it up. Okay. If you're not, then just by having a few extra stores, buy the extra couple of tins of soup every week. Put some water to one side, get yourself a good water filter system. They're not that expensive, and in an SHTF situation or a flooding situation or a grid down situation, they are quite important. Yeah, Lee Michelle, you're right there. You're right there. You might well prep your entire life, never having to use it, but it's about peace of mind as well, isn't it? And it's a hobby. It's a hobby. It's something to do. It's something I get a great deal of pleasure out. I get a great deal of pleasure out of trying different cook systems, different fire sets. I mean, this one that Maximus sent me today, blown away by it. Absolutely brilliant, brilliant, absolutely fantastic. I'll play with that now for the next couple of weeks. I'll be out trying it out in different situations, scenarios. I'll even try different fuels on it. But again, and you make it fun. I pass the same skills on to my sons. My sons were taught to fish. They were taught to camp. They were taught to shoot. They're both very, very, very good marksmen. Dan lives in a country now where he's allowed firearms. So he's taken up shooting. He's done archery for donkey's years. Not allowed to hunt in the UK, but the club he belonged to practiced those skills, but using animal targets. So again, you don't necessarily have to do it, but it's a skill set he developed and got a great deal of pleasure out of, and shared with his partner. And she comes from a society where they do a lot of foraging. Mushrooms and fungi. Damn, she almost got a radar for fungi as Tessie. You know, absolutely brilliant. So again, it's having an interest. It gives you a hobby. It gives you something to do, a pastime, but it's a pastime that's practical. You do have to be careful about it. It can run away with you, as with all things. It's very kit orientated. And you take any hobby, you take fishing. So about 30 years ago, I got back into fishing. Hadn't fished since I was a little nipper. Got back into fishing, and it was a cheap rod, cheap setup down by the canal. Within a year and a half, I'd spent best part of £2,000 on pod sets, rod sets, bivvies, you name it, the latest carp gear, rigs, baits, and went from going for an afternoon's fishing at the local canal to spending 2 to 3 days, and in some cases weeks, sat by lakes looking for specimen carp and that. So again, you've got to be a little bit careful. And this is a hobby and pastime that doesn't need to cost a fortune. Um, it's something I'm always very keen to point out to people. It doesn't need to you don't need to spend an absolute fortune. You know, you start with the basics. A simple folding gas cooker like that. They're cheap and efficient. They're pressed steel. They're out there. The gas isn't that expensive. Great prepping system. You know, the fact that you can cook and heat on it, absolutely superb. Um, you don't need to buy freeze dried foods. You don't need to buy 25-year lifespan foods. You can buy tin foods that have got a good lifespan. So communications, right? Communications essential. So in the UK, you can have a ham operator license and go with a ham radio, which I have considered in the past. It's something I've looked into, but a lot of my friends aren't ham orientated, so we tend to rely on good old mobile phone. But again, that's a system that can go down, be interrupted, be broken up. Let's face it, if you wanted to take control of a country, the first thing you do is you knock that out. It's not hard to do. Landline. So communications for us, I volunteer for a 4x4 response group. We've got two-way radios on that. They're not massive. They don't have huge power, but we can network them. So it works. We use systems like Zello. That also works well. Um, but again, it's prior planning, I think, more than communications. I think it's having plans set in place so that if something happens, you know what you're going to do. If you live somewhere where you can have good communications, then go for it. I see that the old CB radio system in the UK is on the increase now. They're saying they've sold more CB radios in the last 2 years than they had in the previous 20. So again, it's that ability to communicate. A lot of businesses, a lot of companies, a lot of people that have got such a small number of staff that are mobile in, say, a 20, 30-mile range are buying CBs now because it means it's cheaper, easier, and more efficient to stay in contact. Yes, Lee, rotate your food preps. Yeah, we've all done that one. We've all gone to our food preps, gone to the back of the cupboard and gone, oh, that tin's bulging a little bit. It's turned into a hand grenade. Don't try and let the pressure off on the tin. Just dispose of it sensibly. It's never a nice experience. It makes a hell of a mess. So there we go. I hope you've all enjoyed that. Hope you found it interesting. Hope you had a bit of fun. Yeah, just wanted to do something today, get something out there for you guys. Hopefully you enjoy it. To all you guys that have joined us from overseas, welcome. To anybody that's new to the channel, welcome. This is Hampshire Outdoors. This is Mickey. Basically, my goal is purely and simply to share my love of the outdoors, share what I've learned over many, many years of training, both military and civilian, and yeah, just enjoy it. I don't tend to chuck into the military side these days because it's not really proficient. I'm a civilian now. I live in a civilian world, so I'm not walking around with an MP5 anymore or a SIG or anything like that. I am Nick. my military days are gone. They're past me. But at the end of the day, there is certain skills and abilities that you picked up through that do transfer across. So again, quite share them: teamwork, leadership skills, things like that, all worth having. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you enjoy live streams in this sort of format, me and Kaz run a live stream every single Sunday night, 2000 hours UK time, on the Hampshire and Outdoors channel. That live stream is open to anybody that wants to join us. We're sitting around 25 to 30 people on a regular Sunday night now, so it gets a nice chat going. And again, I encourage people to chat on the chat. Don't necessarily have to listen to me. Make friends. Find people in your area that have joined us. Link up, build your community, and have fun. Share tips and ideas. But if you want to join us on a Sunday night, you're more than welcome to. We tend to run for 2 hours as an average, sometimes a little bit less, occasionally a little bit more. But we find after 2 hours, my throat starts to get a little bit dry. Well, that's about it. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you've had fun. Hope I've been able to share some information, technology, some ideas. Get you together, guys. Get you all chatting, making friends, finding new comrades. You know, that's what it's all about. Have fun. Look after yourself. Get outdoors if you can. If you can't, go through your preps. Check your cupboards. And if you haven't yet started prepping, you probably are. If you just joined this channel, if you watch this channel, you're probably already a prepper. Just have a wander around the house, have a look. Start simple. A couple of extra torches, maybe some candles put away in a cupboard somewhere. A couple of extra tins of soup. That's where it all begins. You'll be surprised. 5 years from now, you'll be looking at a cupboard going, do you know what? I can probably survive 2 or 3 months on what we've got now. And that is an advantage, because it doesn't have to be a disaster. It can be the sort of thing that happens to us all in life. It could be the loss of a job, a bill, an incident, an accident that puts us all on the back foot. Sometimes just having those bits stashed give you that little bit less worry about maybe food, maybe power, maybe light. It gives you that little bit of backup. And that's what prepping is about. Prepping is not about necessarily the situation, but giving you the confidence and the strength and knowledge that you can make it through no matter what. Not a problem. My pleasure. My pleasure, Maximus. Thank you very much. So, guys, have fun. Be good. Get outside. Have your adventures. Above all, stay safe. If you're in the UK with this storm coming in, batten down your hatches. Yeah, sit there and enjoy it. Let it blow through. If you're elsewhere in this world, I know that there's people facing all sorts of disasters at the moment, all over the place. There's friends in the States that have been suffering with the cold, unseasonal cold, snow, and all the rest of it. It's murder. Yeah, stay safe. Look after yourselves. Yeah, dig in. Hunker down. And no, I'm from Virginia. Right, so I'll finish off with my usual saying, which is something that comes deep from the heart, and I mean it whenever I say it. Love those you do, forgive those you don't. May peace and light be upon you all. Till Sunday night, guys, take care. Have fun. This is Mickey, Hampshire Outdoors and Survival. Mickey out.